I know some of these people are probably people you're friends with too, so condolences on that. But like, what are some of your thoughts on some of the people that have passed, some of the people that died from?
Well, this is bodybuilding.
Right.
So it's just something you have to be used to, I guess. You know, and some people die prematurely from the steroid abuse, and some people die due to complications of being a bodybuilder, but they have some sort of genetic predisposition.
That we didn't know about.
That we didn't know about. So like with Joe Aesthetics, for example, he had a genetic predisposition to get an aneurysm, which is very unfortunate. Several of his family members, I believe, have passed away from that. And then potentially, you know, with current situations where you're forced to take something you don't really want, taking steroids, taking aromatase inhibitors, smoking weed, right? All these things could potentially exacerbate the genetic predisposition, which is already there. And then instead of passing away at 50, you pass away at 30. So that's why I always try to educate people. Said, listen, look into your family. If you have hair loss, gyno, acne, that's topical. You can fix that. But if you have heart issues, cancer, right, prostate cancer, this kind of stuff, you have to really be on top of it because you might accelerate. You know, from the point that you start bodybuilding, especially with PEDs involved, to the point you get something serious.
Is there a price to pay, much like there's a price to pay to be overly heavy, is there a price to pay to be super lean, you think?
To a certain extent. I mean, you need some estrogen for, you know, vascular health, whether that's from the lipids or the actual vascular tissue. Well, like estrogen is protective of the endothelial tissue. So you need a certain amount of estrogen.
And even as a male, if you wipe it out,
if you wipe it out, it will just mess with your health and over time. So this is what I potentially think that caused Joe to pass on early, because his estrogen was always low, because his body fat levels were always low.
He was always so shredded.
Super lean.
It was insane.
You know, so I wish he would have told me about his family history. Then I could have at least told him, like, you know, pay attention to this, pay attention to that. But maybe in the end, you never really know what's going to get you, you know. And with bodybuilding and fitness in general, we're all on YouTube and Instagram and social media, so we know each other. Right? We are in touch with each other. That's a sport. That's how we make money. So when somebody passes away, especially of a bigger following, you know about it, you know, right away.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything new out there you think that's maybe leading to this too? Like, is there a new substance or drug or something?
Experimental drugs, you know, like FTTP, the adipotide, which literally causes, you know, fat cell destruction. But if it goes systemic, it will also destroy your kidneys.
Wow.
Yeah. DMP, I mean, it's been around. Insulin, if abused, mismanaged. I mean, there's so many drugs out there that if you use them wrongly, and that's why I have this steroid educational channel, right?
It's hard to pinpoint, huh?
I think this lifestyle is just deadly if you do it wrong.
Yeah.
Right? But if you do it right, it can enhance your life and give you so much more benefits compared to like a normal physiological state. But yeah, you need some restrictions. Right? You have like the 10 commandments of steroid use. Something like this is what we need to have in place. Maybe I can make a video about that. You know?
I like that idea.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is there like a lot of danger to testosterone, or is that one a little bit more benign?
That's you know, endogenously produced. We're just taking more of it. So even then, if you go to 2 grams a test or 3 grams a test, there might be some risks, obviously, right?
Blood pressure and
blood pressure, heart enlargement, you know, high blood, so many issues that can come along with that. But I think if you do a replacement dose, HRT, TRT, I think that's totally safe. Yeah. But of course, you still need to manage things that are there. And a lot of people jump on HRT and TRT prematurely. They're in a poor state of health, and that's why their testosterone levels are low. And if they improve their health, it's very likely that their testosterone levels improve by themselves, and they didn't need TRT in the first place.
Right.
But, you know, I mean, which of the TRT clinics are going to do that besides Merrick Health, for example?
Right.
Right. At least the guys at Merrick, who are also there at Swiss Symposium, they're going to say, hey, listen, you know, you're in a terrible state of health. Why would you fix that first? Right. That's why it's a meal optimization health clinic and not a TRT clinic.
Right. Yeah, testosterone is an interesting one. Do you believe, like I've heard people say that they think that, especially in the case of men, that our testosterone used to be like way higher. Do we have proof of that? And like,
No,
you know, blood, like how long has blood work been around? Like even the testosterone obviously has been around for as long as mankind or even before that. But our understanding of testosterone, we didn't have a lot. It didn't seem like, I think they started to discover testosterone in like the 50s or 30s
Yeah,
or
I
something
think
like that.
1930. So there was two, I think a Swiss, German, and another scientist who got the Nobel Prize
Right.
for discovering these hormones and endocrinology in
So we don't know
general.
anything about it like from like the 1700s, let's
No,
say.
no. So if you go through the fossil records, you see that the craniums of man used to be more pronounced, and they speculate that testosterone levels were like 1,200, 1,500, 2,000, depending on the
We
scientific
don't have
literature.
any idea.
No, but you can't read the serum ranges. So ideally, we have something like a Jurassic Park, where you go into the amber, you extract the DNA from a mosquito,
Right.
and then somehow you can see what the testosterone levels were like, and then make a Neanderthal on the side. But I think also the cranials were bigger back then because of the Neanderthals and the interbreeding. Yeah, it was a pretty horrific story
Yeah.
on how that happened. So could it have been higher back then? Sure. I mean, do you feel good on 1,200, 1,500, 2,000 nanograms per deciliter? I sure do.
Right.
And my blood work parameters are pretty good on that level. You know, I'm jealous of that.
How did you get into all this? Because there's it's one thing to like take a little bit of stuff here and there to get a little bigger and stronger, get leaner and stuff. But how did you really took a deep dive into this to where
the hormones.
at this point you're like a scientist?
So my mom introduced me to introduced me to the gym when I was 15, and then I think I got my hands dirty with steroids when I was 26. It's a great warehouse.
Yeah, thank you.
This is where all the posting and the shipping
Yeah.
happens. Any steroid labs in the back?
This room right here.
All right.
It's got all the
Yeah, no
juice.
filming allowed. Yeah, so I don't know. I started doing research about steroids when I was 21. That's one of the,
Just reading up on it and so forth.
yeah, reading up on it, and I never felt that I was ready until I was 26. Yeah.
This is the podcast studio. Right here.
Okay, so here it is. Wow, this is great. I need something like this.
And then how did you like really start to really learn about steroids? Was it
I think
maybe a little bit the way Derek did through like forums and stuff?
Yeah, so that's where we all started, right? We started reading on the forums, and then you realize that a lot of people are making mistakes, or that they're full of shit, or they're just arguing about scientific evidence that's extrapolated from sick people,
Right.
So I realized, okay, there's some anecdotal reports, there's a lot of bro science. Why don't I just get started from the bottom and research human biology? So that's how I got interested more in doing the research, because there's just a lot of misinformation. And again, the bodybuilders are usually crazy with the dosages. So I was pretty conservative when I started.
Right.
Of course, later on you start to experiment,
Right.
and then you still do a gram a train. Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
It's pretty powerful though.
Yeah,
I mean,
I felt
trenbolone.
like I could kick a bus. That's how I felt. I couldn't do that, obviously, but it's a very strong compound.
Is there a way to like take trenbolone in some sort of way that's not super damaging? I guess maybe a short term and low moderate dose.
I think the dose is the poison.
Yeah.
So if you do like 50 milligrams a week, 70 milligrams, 150 maybe, I think that it's pretty sustainable for 6 to 8 weeks. And nowadays we understand more about the biology and how these drugs work. So the interactions between trenbolone and IGF-1 and growth hormone are better understood now than they were back then. So you can get away with a lower dose. Then again, if you do a competition and your competitors are doing a higher dose, then what are you going to do?
A couple weeks left.
Yeah,
Up
it's,
that a little bit.
Your coach puts you on 150
Orals
milligrams of
take a little
train.
bit
Yeah,
more.
you're like 150 train and 350. I want
Right.
to win, you know. So
Right.
this is the competitive nature of the athlete. Yeah. So that's I don't compete, so I'm happy that I don't have to touch this stuff anymore.
Trend is a really interesting one. You hear so many people talk about it, and I think it's interesting just to even talk about like why someone would choose it. Like, what do you think that is there? You have any sort of thing you can compare it to? Like, it's a huge jump.
Not really.
It seems way different than everything else, right?
So if you take tren out of it, you'd have to take like 5-6 different compounds to get a similar effect. So you can get away with test primo, lobotomasterone, maybe some anavar, and then some IGF-1 stuff, right? All together mixed in to get a comparable effect regarding body composition and how you look. But hey, what's up? Nice to meet you finally. What's up? What's up? How are you? It's my wife, Nan. Oh, sorry.
Vigorous Steve brought us some IGF-1. Like
Yeah,
the real
so-
shit.
yeah. Hand carried all the way from.
$300.
Oh, I wish it was that cheap. You get like a quarter valve. Fuck, man, it's so expensive.
Yeah.
That Increlex. Yeah.
He was just saying that like if you were to try to take anything to match up with trenbolone, you'd have to take like 6 different things.
Yeah, a low dose. So that's why it's easy. It's readily available in all the sources, right? Everybody can get their hands on tren. It's sexy. Everybody talks about it. There's a tren challenge out there, 30 days on tren. And people just make stellar gains without knowing anything about training or nutrition.
What was a gram of it like, and how long did you do that for?
4 weeks. Yeah. That was, I know, it's like you have this rain cloud over your head and it's thunderous all the time. You feel like an absolute god in the gym. And then I looked in the mirror, I'm like, I'm not really improving as much as I did on 700 milligrams. So I took it out. And then you realize 4 weeks later that you were a complete dickhead.
Yeah.
You know, like everything pissed me off.
And what are the 4 weeks after you come off of trim like?
As the sun comes out. You know, you feel healthier, you get a little bit of less water retentive. Back then we didn't know anything
Like,
about
life's beautiful, man. This is pretty nice.
exactly. Yeah, I feel good, you know. Of course, then you go to the gym and you can't curl the 60-pound dumbbells or the 80-pound dumbbells. Yeah, so unfortunately that was lost. But
Veins and stuff come out, like things get a little crazy in terms
also
of
pretty
lean.
watery. I think my electrolyte balance was completely off. We didn't know anything about ancillaries back then. Telmisartan has only been talked about for 3 years, 4 years. You know, really talked about, or ezetimibe, or
Right.
you know, it's coming basically to the forefront from the Bio Bros that we did with Leo and Derek. So up until then, you take your aromatase inhibitors and shut the fuck up. That's basically it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel a bit dumb for actually doing those experiments back then. But back then I didn't know as much as I do now.
I think a lot of people can slip into that. I think even like listening to like Peter Itia, who's a really well-established physician. Really, he's highly sought after. He's a brilliant guy, but to listen to some of the stuff that he's taken and the dosages and stuff is interesting too. You're like, wow, this is a clinician, this is an actual doctor. But I think he did it out of his own curiosity. Like, I wonder, I think he took like rapamycin or
rapamycin twice, and then he did a long-term fasting or intermittent fasting, and then he stopped doing that. He stopped taking metformin because of new scientific evidence. It was a very good podcast with Peter Attia and Joberman. And they just go back and forth going over the scientific evidence.
He believes there's better drugs now.
Yeah, and then they're like, metformin, it's kind of, old news. So as the science continues, we adjust our protocols.
Right.
And I'm sure 10 years from now, we're probably cringing about what we're doing now, but this is the best we can do at this moment.
Right.
I think we're all, pretty much on the conclusion that you need to manage your blood pressure and your lipids. Unless you follow carnivore diet.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, this is a hobby, right? And so I think we have a tendency to, any hobby that you have, Andrew loves cars and stuff, and
you go to the extreme.
You're gonna overdo it, and even if you promise yourself not to drive a certain car, a certain speed, like you're gonna start going faster in it and want it to move faster and put more powerful shit on there.
Exactly. Yeah. Put some nitro on it.
If I did this, okay, cool, that's there. I'm gonna take it easy. But I have the ability. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
And your friends told you not to do it. They did it. They made a mistake. They wrecked their car.
Yeah, the wiser ones like, it's not worth it. Like, we've been there. It's like, you don't know me though.
Yeah, I've talked to him about like taking stuff, and he's asking about like taking more and stuff like that. I'm like, probably won't listen to me, but just the amount you're taking is really.
I think we
the
all
amount
gotta
you're
get
taking is probably correct. Stay right there.
Right. I think you just got to get your hands dirty and figure it out for yourself. That's why I always tell people, like, you can do all the research you want, but at one point you're gonna have to dive right in, take the drugs or drive the cars, and then just experience it. And then you can realize, like, okay, maybe going 200 miles an hour isn't really,
You down to train some shoulders?
I am so down for some shoulders. All right. Yeah, let's do that.
I'm gonna walk you through kind of the rest of the spot, and
see you in a
we'll
bit.
end up back in the gym. Yeah, so this is just for some photo shoot type stuff with some of the products and stuff like that. And we got some overflow of some products and stuff. Nice. Slingshots and knee sleeves and wrist wraps and belts and a little bit of everything.
This is cool.
Have you gotten into some e-commerce stuff? Do you sell products or anything like that? Just watch your steps there.
Just ebooks.
Cool.
Just ebooks. And mostly services. I think maybe at one point I'll get into products, but I haven't really looked into it yet. I like doing everything online and having everything digital. So I have services and ebooks. And then at one point I'll get into a membership site on YouTube to have a little bit more in-depth knowledge.
That's cool. You haven't done that yet?
No, I wanted to reach 100,000 subs first. So maybe after our podcast, I finally
that's awesome.
I'm at 99 now. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
Maybe do a little membership section with some exclusive content
Mm-hmm.
that you can't really share publicly. And then
Do you have an
an
opportunity to make some money off of like supplements and stuff that you recommend? Because you're probably always recommending stuff.
Yeah, so I have affiliates, right? So I'm with Gorilla Mind and then
cool.
Intelligent Elephant or Intelligent Shop. And then I have iHerb discount codes. I have discount codes for a lot of
That's cool.
different things. And you pull that all together and it's quite good.
I think it's great though.
Yeah.
Like, you know, some people, I don't know, people look at it different ways, but I think the monetization, I think, is really important so that you can continue to do it and you can continue to grow and you can make the show better and you can put more time and energy.
Exactly,
into
you
it.
reinvest a little bit. And of course, you know, if you're really good at something, you shouldn't do it for free because otherwise people don't appreciate it anyway. You know, I could answer messages 24/7 and you know, help people one-on-one, or I could make a video about it and then help everybody.
That's cool.
Right, for the people that want to see it. But of course, making a video, you don't really get so much AdSense revenue. I mean, $50, $100 doesn't really cover the bill. So you need to have something attached to that to kind of, you know, make sure that the revenue streams keep going.
And then this is the main part of the warehouse here. Recently, we got into making some supplements. So we make whey protein and we make the steak shake. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but the steak shake has liver, kidney, heart, spleen, pancreas. It's got all those nutrients in it. And then it's also made with beef isolate, whey protein, egg protein, and collagen.
So it's real meal replacement, basically.
Right, yeah, that product sells really, really well. We've done great with that one. I'll send you guys off with some stuff, stuff that's not too bulky for your,
please.
Your continuing your travels and stuff like that.
It's a big warehouse.
Yeah, I started this in 2010 when we started this. And we also sell Kratom. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, it's legal now in Thailand. Hi. So how are you so big not taking anything?
Because I'm Nigerian.
Jeez.
Thank you.
That helps. Fuck, man, I'm jealous, dude.
That's a simple answer.
No, but it's true. It's true. I mean, it helps. Like if I had some Viking in me, that would help too, but I don't.
Did you say you're Dutch?
Yeah, Dutch, but my grandmother was from the Ukraine, or she was from Russia, and then they changed it to the Ukraine when she moved to Holland. I don't think that I was made for bodybuilding. Well, we're just gonna power through anyway.
Right. Gonna make it happen.
Yeah, it's still gonna make it happen. I got those funny bands of yours. I never used these bands until I went to Chase Iron's gym, and he's got a couple of these.
Oh, cool.
The slingshots.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, use these for triceps. I'm like, wow.
Oh, good. Great.
Different.
Which gym is that? Where's that at?
So he's got a private training facility in Chicago.
Oh,
it's called, just called Chase Irons Fitness. So I did a collab with him, and that was fun.
You've been to the U.S. couple times, right?
Oh, it's only the second time.
Ah, okay.
But this time I do the proper tour. So last time was only LA and Vegas, and now, let's see, Detroit, Columbus, Chicago, Vegas, Orlando, Sacramento, LA, and then back home.
How was Orlando? That's where the Olympia
fun.
was, right?
Yeah, it was for Olympia. So it's nice. I like Orlando.
Good.
Sometimes there's some weird people there.
Right.
Some, special needs people. If that's the correct term.
Maybe.
Yeah, but then again, I just came from Vegas, and that's basically what Vegas is all about also.
Can you tell us what you said about
Disney World?
When you met Jay Cutler?
Oh, Jay Cutler. So I met Jay Cutler in 2006. After he won the Mr. Olympia, he came to Holland for a seminar at the Sport and Fitness Gym. And then after the seminar was done, I shook his hand and took a picture. And I gave up on being a competitive bodybuilder right there because I realized I was not gonna cut it.
That's why he's never competed.
Yeah.
And he never will.
And, well,
Jay
I mean,
Cutler
now we
your
have
hopes and dreams.
Yeah, I got destroyed basically. So now we have classic, so I could do that. I could make weight for classic and look somewhat classic if I vacuum. Do a vacuum pose?
Yep.
But back then we only had bodybuilding, right? So I shook his hand, and as soon as the handshake was finished, all my hopes and aspirations of being a competitive bodybuilder fell to the floor.
Just went right out the window.
Well, right out the window. I have a picture on my Instagram somewhere where I look like, a little boy.
What are some things you did to grow your arms? You got some massive arms over there.
So it's funny, like now they look big compared to the rest of my body, but it's the arms just stay when you come off.
You're off right now?
Yeah.
How long?
10 months.
Shit. Anything at all, like TRT?
Well,
or whatever?
ACG and FSH. So my testosterone levels are off means off the steroids. Right, dude, this is like the problem.
You're
with
not using
bodybuilders.
none of those things are anabolic, right?
Well, ACG is anabolic because it
Okay.
raises your testosterone levels. So
Yeah.
I think my test level is like 600-700. Okay. So it's a little bit higher than I was before I went on cycle.
Yeah.
And I eat reasonably good until I came to the US. Yeah. Yeah. So I think my caloric intake is like 4,000 a day. So that's good to stay full.
Yeah, we're known for being fat.
And trust me, everywhere I go, I modify my orders. You know, no butter, no cheese, and still,
Maybe.
I'm packing on the size. Yeah. So
Second,
don't ask me to take my shirt off.
how's like the food situation in Thailand?
I mean, we have a lot of the Western foods, but the portions are smaller. So here, you know, you go to Cheesecake Factory or Denny's or whatever. Yeah, I know it's horrible choices, but anywhere you go, it's just mountains of food.
Yeah.
And in Thailand, you just have a small dish. Usually you have maybe 3-4 dishes for 2 people. And then you're full, pleasantly, not obese full.
And then what country did you grow up in?
Oh, Holland.
Holland.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I don't really identify as being Dutch anymore. I have a Dutch passport, but I've traveled all over the world now. And I feel it's a very small-minded country. Then again, that's from what I remember. I haven't been there in like 17 years properly, so.
You know what's kind of interesting about a lot of those countries? There's not a lot of famous people from those countries. Like,
Well, you have Wesley Vissers and William Bonac, but that's about it. And Famke Janssen.
yeah, like sometimes from some of those countries it might be like a soccer player or something,
Yeah.
but it's like more rare.
Well, it's a small country also. 16, 17 million people
Yeah.
live there.
I just think like in the U.S., almost everyone when they are little, they're
Yeah.
dreaming of like being famous in some way, or
Yeah.
or want to do something that might make them famous.
In Holland, people just want to be average, which is good. If you want to be average, you got healthcare and everything taken care of for you. But if you want to be a little bit more than average, then
Is it a
people
pretty
just-
safe country,
Yeah,
relatively speaking?
yeah. I mean, there's no guns or very minimal. Not so much criminality. Of course, when you go out clubbing, and then you got a lot of hoodlums, drunk people. That's
Right.
anywhere in the world. But yeah,
Does Holland have its own language?
yeah, Dutch.
Okay, Dutch.
Yeah.
And then like what other countries speak? There's probably a couple countries that speak Dutch, right?
South Africa speaks Afrikaans, which is, you know, like if you go back in time to Holland, to like the 1700s, that's kind of what it sounds like. Because that's basically when the Dutch people moved to South Africa. And so they speak Afrikaans. So the South Africans I can communicate with a little bit of broken Dutch and that kind of stuff. Holland's alright if you go there as a tourist. Yeah,
Holland
you
near-
went there recently, right? I saw you were running around
Yeah.
on Damrak, which is like in Amsterdam.
Yep.
No shirt,
Yeah. Yep.
fit right in.
Yep.
That's what happens in Amsterdam, you know?
Amsterdam was nice. Very nice.
Yeah, it's fun. Do any out of the weed tourism?
Yep. A little bit.
Nice.
Is it weed tourism?
Yeah, but that's what people go to Amsterdam, right? Oh yeah, that's why people used to go there before it was legalized in America and other parts of the world. We were one of the first, so it's a fun place to go and get high, basically, or get some mushrooms, or that's what a lot of tourists do. Where else did you go in your Europe trip, or only Amsterdam?
I went to Switzerland. I like that a lot.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
Switzerland was really nice. Most of the people in Holland fairly like thin, or starting to get a little mix over there.
Oh, a little mix of everything.
Yeah.
They're not as shapely as some of the Americans are. But yeah, a lot of people are tall.
Right.
I don't know what happened to my genetics. I'm 5'9", average height, but some Dutch people are like this tall, you know? So you go to school and you're like the shortest kid. Yeah, so I moved to Asia, became average height.
When did you get
a lot.
into lifting?
15 years old. Yeah, my mom signed me up to the gym. So we went to the gym, I think 1 time a week, and there was this girl there, 18 years old, so 3 years older than I was. She would instruct us. And of course, when you get bench press instructions, she's like overhead, right? So we're looking straight into her boobs. So I started going multiple times a week, doing bench press. I mean, I've got to be honest, this is
You're
the
like,
reason
what time
why.
are you here every day?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So she would be instructing, like Rose was her name.
I missed this part. Wait, so you were bench pressing and up, like, was this on a bench press?
Yeah, so it's a bench press, she's just standing on top, it's just trying to spot you, right?
Did she work there?
Yeah, she worked there.
Oh, so she was just like helping spot people.
Yeah, no, she was an instructor in how to do bench press properly and how to do shoulder press properly. She was
Like,
training
man,
for a
this
couple
kid really
years.
loves a bench press.
Yeah, I was just,
No gray sweatpants.
I'm like, no, exactly. So this is how I got started.
Any other family members into fitness or
Oh
lifting?
no, oh no.
They think you're really strange.
Oh, now they get it. Back then, I got so much rejections from my family
Yeah.
members. Like, why are you going to the gym? And there's no future in that. And honestly, without social media,
Get a
there is
job.
no future. Yeah, I tried. I tried to be a consultant, but
Did you end up going to college?
yeah. I graduated when I was about 21 years old. And then I was a business consultant for a while. And then the economic crisis happened. And I traveled the world. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, it did work out. Yeah, but it's all because of social media, right? Without social media, I couldn't do what I'm doing.
Who were some of the people you followed early on? Do you remember? Like, did you started going on like YouTube or anything like that? Or
Well, we downloaded those Mitsuru Okabe videos from Kaza and eDonkey. Yeah, you remember, right? And then sometimes you get a file that's not really what it's styled to be. And you're like, oh man, I gotta delete this fast. Oh geez. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's where I got the most videos from. I think you got in the forums and try to get the information there, which is always a bit, I don't know, everybody was hiding behind anonymity. So you never really know how people look or what they actually do or what they know. That's why I like social media so much right now, because you can kind of see who's who, what's what.
were you kind of against steroids at first when you first started to hear
No,
about them?
I just figured it wasn't the right time. And then when I was 26 and I lost my job from the economic crisis, I felt it was time. Ooh. I trained drug-free for 11 years. Yeah. Nowadays, that's unheard of. Unless you have a Nigerian background. Unless you have a Nigerian background. Then you can just keep going, keep growing.
You've looked into a lot of things, but I'm guessing, have you done any like research or delved into genetic differences when it comes to like specific like races?
Not much. No, not much. I know Leo was pretty big on that, but I never really took the time to look into it. I see everybody as an individual, so when I was coaching people, you just tailor to their individual needs, and then as the coach-client relationship continues, you just tailor it more. But no, I never really looked into the genetics. Obviously, you know, there's some people from some parts of the world are easier to build muscle or easier to get lean or easier to build certain, you know, body parts like bigger calves or bigger arms. But in the end, you know, I mean, you got to develop a full physique, and that, you know, everybody has to do that differently.
What happened with Leo? Any idea?
So, I mean, the family speculates that it was murder, but I'm not sure about that. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But it's such a confusing situation because the way he was found was several days later, right? I mean, he was already kind of decomposing by the time they found him,
right.
so that can influence the autopsy. I think they just released part of the autopsy, which again, without the full autopsy, you can't really make a conclusion. And in Thailand, the case has been shut down for months. So through my network, I haven't heard anything that they were investigating suspects. I saw a lot of finger pointing to me, to Tony, to, man, God knows who. I mean, we're all able to leave the country, come into the US and come back. So from a you know, investigation perspective, I don't think anything is going on there. And we had a lot of weird people show up to the gym for like 2 or 3 months because they put up a bounty of $100,000. So I didn't feel safe for like 2 or 3 months going to the gym because you had all these weirdos show up asking questions. So I don't know what's going on. I mean, if he was indeed murdered, I hope to find the suspect. And if it was, I don't know, something else, just a freak accident or him freaking out or whatever, or you know, pandemic related stuff.
With Joe Aesthetics, the
Yeah.
autopsy is not done yet either, right?
No, the autopsy was done, but the family is not going to release it. It's just very, very simple.
Yeah.
He had 8 million followers or 9 million, and they just don't want that out there.
Yeah.
So,
That's their right, you know, makes sense.
no, that's how it should be. I mean, the press was camping out of their family grave for
wow.
a month.
Wow.
No, it's despicable.
Yeah.
So so they just keep everything quiet. We had a little private ceremony for him in Thailand, and that's basically the.
Seemed like an amazing guy. I never had an opportunity to meet him.
He was a great guy. Yeah, that's why it
Seemed
hurt
awesome.
so much.
He seemed like he was so much fun.
You know, he had a good network. He knew a lot of people. We were always cordial. He lived in Pattaya, I lived in Bangkok. We would meet each other every time at the events, right, or just hang out, and just talk. I don't know, like business or fitness or that kind of stuff. And yeah, it came to a shock.
Yeah.
The buddy that gave him CPR, my friend who found him and gave him CPR, he called me right after it happened.
Wow.
And then, of course, you try to suppress that to inform the family, and guess what? People are already on social media. That's why sometimes you think it might be better not to be famous. But he lived his life to the fullest, man. He accomplished in 30 years what most people need 70 years for, if that.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, it's very unfortunate what happened to both of them.
Someone's young and they got a little training under their belt. And they already, you know, like you get a lot of people that ask.
Yeah.
And you know what that means, you know, when they ask, like, hey, should I go on? You know that regardless of your answer, they're going to kind of pick something anyway.
Yeah, people have selective hearing. So you give the best information you can, and then it's up to them, you know.
Right.
It's in the end, everybody's got to make their own decision. There's no excuse not to get not educated, to stay dumb. There's no excuse. Like when we started, the information
So much
wasn't there.
information, yeah.
So we made mistakes, but nowadays the only mistake you make is by not researching, and that's on you. So I mean, I got a great YouTube channel. You got a great YouTube channel. There's so much information out there that you can dive into, and if you're not doing that, it's completely on you, you know.
Should somebody young, maybe, do you think they should maybe look somewhere else rather than like just starting with like testosterone, or do you think that's a good?
I think that's the place to start.
That is a place to start.
If
Just,
they want to start, that's
just
the
some
place to
plain
start.
test.
Yeah, or do HCG monotherapy first, or maybe try enclomiphene for a couple of weeks. But it's not sustainable because the data on enclomiphene is not very conclusive, I would say. There's a lot of data on clomiphene, but not on enclomiphene, which is a stereoisomer. So you have zuclomiphene and enclomiphene is about 2/3 of the clomiphene product.
So somebody can run that without testosterone and still build some muscle and stuff, you think?
Yeah, so the enclomiphene, clomid, zuclomiphene, they all increase LH and FSH levels. So if luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormones goes up, your testosterone levels will also go up. Your fertility parameters goes up. So if you're, you know, middle of the range, let's say 500 nanograms per deciliter, you could potentially get 800 to 900, maybe even 1100 nanograms per deciliter on your total T, which is double the T, not double the gains obviously, but you should improve your, you know, body composition and overall strength quite a bit.
Why is there a relationship between, or at least there seems to be a relationship between testosterone and muscle, but then sometimes people have tons of muscle and not a lot of testosterone in their system?
So you measure testosterone in the blood, right? But what does it do in the blood? It just transport it there. So it could be that a disproportionate larger amount of the testosterone is on the androgen receptor in skeletal muscle doing its thing, whereas in blood it's not there. So, you know, with the natural bodybuilders, for example, their testosterone levels might be 300, but they have phenomenal physiques and they're diced to the socks, they're shredded. It's because the testosterone is on the androgen receptor, not doing what it's supposed to
You can
do.
also, in some way, you can kind of use up testosterone too, right?
Yeah, so androgen receptor sensitivity is a real thing. Like if you have awesome Nigerian genetics with GAC repeaters. So you have an androgen receptor and GAC repeaters, and a certain amount of GAC repeaters, let's say in the middle, allows for high androgen binding. So if you have a genetically beneficial androgen receptor, the testosterone that binds causes a lot of gene transcription and thus anabolism, right? All the machinery that's required for anabolism. But if it only attaches for a microsecond and then leaves, you don't get so much expression. So the longer it attaches, the more expression you get, the more of an anabolic effect. And that might mean that the testosterone is not in your blood being detectable, it's on the androgen receptor just pumping out proteins, and making more androgen receptors. And thus your skeletal muscle and your strength and your overall body composition is stellar. But you do your blood work, it's like, oh, it's 600. He must be on cycle.
Right.
So,
Is there any way to test that currently or no?
I think with genetic testing.
Maybe they could find.
So long story short, you just gotta try, see how far you get without the drugs. And then when you feel you're ready, you try some drugs. I mean, some people don't even need it. Plenty of good natural bodybuilders out there. Of course, they could be better with some steroids. Yeah.
That's true.
Then again, it depends on what you want, right? I mean, not everybody wants to be sauced to the gills, and if you're happy just being good, naturally, then why take it? Honestly, if I was like 100 kilos natural, semi-lean, I probably wouldn't have taken them. Yeah. I was 90 kilos fat, so that's 200 pounds fat. Now I'm 220 pounds somewhat lean, but that's because I took steroids for 15 years.
So, actually, this is an interesting thing. Mark has mentioned multiple times that a lot of people who hop on and they come off, usually they're not going to keep much, if not any, of the gains that they had with PEDs. Yeah. So I'm curious, do you think you could have gotten close to this size without PEDs, or is it because you were on?
No, 100% no. I would have gotten up to 225 pounds at this age, but I'd be fat.
How fat? Like how fat are we talking about?
You're talking the lower back, it's like this. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to fit into the Disney World rides like half the other people. I'd be fat, yeah, like one pack. Yeah. I'd look like an off-season powerlifter, probably, but not squatting.
An off-season powerlifter.
Yeah. So that's you know how far that is. So
that's a good look.
But I wouldn't be able to lift all that weight. It's a strong look. Yeah, in the winter when you can wear a hoodie, but take your shirt off and
a little fluffy.
Yeah, pretty fluffy. So no, I wouldn't have been able to look like this without it. And this is why a lot of people want to take like 1 cycle or 2 cycles to get to their natural potential and then sustain. But right now I'm putting in so much effort just to look a certain way. Yeah. Not here in the US, obviously. I'm freestyling the meals, but back home I was like a contest prep, not missing meals and eating very particularly and trying to stay lean for social media. Yeah. I think I could have been a little bit bigger than I am now if I just ate a little bit more. But you gotta look lean on camera. I should don't.
So if you were off for like 3 years, you think you would lose?
I would lose more, yeah. I'd be like 190 pounds.
Maybe not everything, but maybe almost everything?
No, I probably still look better than my natural potential. If you build more muscle tissue, more muscle fibers. Of course, the strength has increased, so as long as I stay about 75% strong of my previous best, I would be able to sustain.
So you might hold on to some.
Yeah, I don't think you'll lose everything. What you see with a lot of pro bodybuilders that completely give up, they turn into the Michelin man. They don't train, they get fat, there's still some muscle there, but it just looks bad.
I was surprised to see some photos of Paul Dillette.
Yeah, so he lost everything. He literally lost everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't even.
He looks thin, Mm-hmm. But so he didn't go the opposite route. He didn't get fat, but
yeah. So
he did lose
you don't know,
muscle.
like, did Paul Dillette get like some health condition because he doesn't look healthy either. I mean, I'm not hating on you, Paul, but he does look sick. He looks a little bit sickly. Yeah. Of the pictures I saw at the Olympia.
Yeah, he used to get up to three something, right?
Yeah. No, he was a big boy.
Yeah, he was.
And you never really know what they took back in the day because, again, the knowledge wasn't as extensive as it is now. So you heard about mercury-based diuretics.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, these are rumors, right? I mean, some of the coaches would just literally give you a drink the day before the show. Drink this. And they wouldn't tell you what's in it. And a lot of these guys would just drink it because they wanted to win. So that's where I would draw the line, Yeah, and they didn't even know. No, they didn't even know. So it could be mercury. Because they had drug testing at that time, right? In the like Jay Cutler got failed for like 7 different diuretics, and that's how he got the drug testing expelled. Because he just sued them. It's like, what the fuck is this? You know, all the samples were out there in the back room. Just everybody could mix them all together, and then everybody failed for something. So they used something like mercury or other stuff that wasn't part of the panel that they tested for. So I know those were crazy times. I do feel that the bodybuilders now look healthier than they did back then.
So back in like the 90s, but how about versus the 70s?
70s, they look healthier than they do now, that's for sure. That's for sure, that's for sure. Thank God for Classic Physique. I'm happy Classic Physique is around. I wish that was around when I got started. Because I would have been probably aspired to compete, actually.
I think Classic Physique looks like what bodybuilding should look like.
Yeah, and now with a little bit of weight increase, you see Brian Ansley, how much he improved. Man, he looked killer. I told Chris Cormier, I said, hey, that weight increase did him a world of favors because he was just sucking down too much.
Do you think, who's the guy who got second in Classic Physique, the Latino guy? I forgot his name.
Ramon Dino.
Ramon Dino.
Yeah.
I saw that. Do you think that Bumstead actually like won that? It was convincing?
No.
No?
No. No, because I was there prejudging. I woke up early to see the prejudging for Classic Physique. Yeah. And Chris Bumstead did not look like the Bumstead of last year. But then he improved so much for the finals. And honestly, I had Ramon Dino winning the prejudging. Yeah. And then the finals Chris was obviously better. But you got to knock the champion out at both competitions, right? Mm-hmm. Then again, Hadi Shupan was also off for prejudging. Yeah. And he lost. That's why bodybuilding is so, you just got to take it with a grain of salt, man. Mm-hmm. Because with these competitions, you never know how it's going to play out. I mean, I had, what is his name? The 212 champion winning. No, the other guy. Man, I always forget his name. Keon won. Okay, yeah. Yeah, but the other guy, I had him winning, but he had a little bit of distension, so I put him second. And yeah, so with bodybuilding, you never really know what's going to happen. That's why it's so much fun, and that's why there's so much hate.
Do you think it's still as political as people think it is? Because I mean, if you look at like Bumstead and then Lunsford, they both have great followings. Lunsford just seems like
Caucasian's got a triple strike this time.
That's great. That's great. No, seriously. But Lunsford also seems like just a great guy to market behind versus like Hadi.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, so Hadi, of course, he's from Iran. He doesn't speak a word of English. He has a hearing impediment, and people said he was not a good ambassador. But then again, you just have to be the best bodybuilder on the day of the show. It's not an ambassador contest; it's a bodybuilding contest. So if you break it down, finals, I had Hadi winning. Yeah. But Derek did enough at prejudging to win. I mean, he's got a great vacuum. Christian helps potentially. When you're in the United States.
Honestly, the IFBB is very conservative and very Christian.
Exactly. So but all these things count, right? So like it's an opinion sport. So you got judges that are all based on opinion, and in the back of their head there might be an ulterior, slew of reasons. That's why one of the reasons I didn't want to compete, because there's always something, Plus I'm too opinionated, so I would never win, even if I look good. This guy talks about drugs online.
It's not a good look.
No, it's not a good look for the IFBB. Anyway, I think for us, you just gotta do your best and look good and have fun with it. Yeah. And I think competition can either do you a world of good or completely suck the life out of bodybuilding and make you walk off stage. I mean, Hadi obviously put his life into it. He congratulates Derek Lunsford for winning, takes 1 or 2 pictures and walks off stage, and then the whole world explodes. Give the guy a break. I have pictures of him just congratulating Derek, but that's not what people are highlighting. Yeah. A lot of Trembolone in this sport. A lot of opinions. What is this? Ooh. Oh, this nice machine.
Yeah, and you can change the cam on it too on that.
It's a Prime, right?
Yeah. Huge.
What?
Huge biceps.
Yeah, that somehow stayed. Ooh.
Yeah, give it a switch. Grab that green handle over there, and then Yeah, there you go.
So this is what, heavier or
Yeah,
lighter?
do a little bit like that. It just changes the position. So it'll be harder from the beginning or the end motion.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's progressive. Oh, this is better. You keep it off the shoulder joint. So you guys don't go to the O, right? Did you ever go to the Olympia?
I've been there, yeah, a couple times.
Yeah?
I think we've all been a couple times, maybe.
Yeah, it's fun. I like it. It is. A lot of funny people. But this year I realized that everybody's watching my channel. Literally everybody.
Oh yeah.
Last year I went there and then you get like, some people that you didn't expect to watch my YouTube channel, and now it's basically everybody. Yeah, so my practices were on stage too. My advice, yeah, that was good to see.
What kind of changes have you noticed with like the way people do things now?
Semaglutide, liraglutide. That's why a lot of people are in shape now. Because before last, I think me, Derek, and Leo, we talked about semaglutide, liraglutide, and the GLP-1 receptor agonist. Really in depth for 2 years, 3 years. And a lot of the competitors are using that. I do consultations with these guys, so I know 100%. And they're diced to the socks. The peaking is still a little bit difficult sometimes, so they might be super shredded, but they still have a film of water, making them not look as good as they can be. But at least the body composition and the fat loss is 10 times better in classic, 212, open, some of the female classes. Yeah. That's why I feel they also look healthier compared to before, because they're looking into alternative fat burners. So, yeah.
What were the fat burners that made them look unhealthy before?
High dose Clen, DNP. Yeah, some guys were using DNP because they were off or late.
All I know is that DNP makes people hot.
Oh yeah, but it causes a lot of oxidative stress. So if you use a low dose long enough, you look like a smoker. They literally have that face of like they're smoking cigarettes because of the oxidative stress.
Yikes.
Yeah. And the skin doesn't look nice and it doesn't sit on the muscle correctly, and it's sometimes you look at a competitor and you're like, this doesn't look right. Right? And then they're using the pharmacology wrong. And then sometimes, like Hani Rambot's guys, I know Hani is a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. So all his competitors, besides some side injections, allegedly, their skin look nice, they're in shape, they have good presentation, right? So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. And I think with some of the information on my YouTube channel, coaches are making better decisions. Yeah. Because what they're putting into practice, I don't exactly know, but when I talk to the athletes, I know what they're doing. Yeah. It's fun though, it's fun.
Yeah, the Ozempic thing has it's just leaked into like general population.
When I came to the US last year, and I arrived in Las Vegas, I see semaglutide or Ozempic or Wegovy on billboards. Right. I didn't expect it.
Is that another term for it?
Yeah, that's another brand of liraglutide, I think.
Yeah.
So I see it on billboards. I'm like, man, I didn't expect it to go that far, because me and Colette Nelson were one of the first ones to really talk about it when these medications just came to the forefront. I think Colette Nelson, because she's a diabetic expert, she was ahead of it before it even was brought to market. And then when it was brought to market, I did a lot of research on it, and I was like, I think this is going to be a game changer.
Which one is the safest one? Because there's
They're
like
all-
some advancements a little bit, right? Or no?
So there's a new one, retatrutide and tirzepatide. Those are combination medications. So you have a glucagon-like peptide-1 receptor agonist plus a gastric inhibitory polypeptide receptor agonist. So you have two pathways that it could blunt appetite and potentially enhance fat loss. And then retatrutide also has glucagon in there. So I ran a retatrutide for the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks that I was in the US. And because of the glucagon, you feel a little bit flat. You get a little bit of increased lipolysis. But I also feel that my blood glucose levels were a little bit elevated at times, eating the generic American diet based on my urine. Because I saw that my urine was smelling a little bit sweet. So you're dumping a lot of glucose in your urine, which isn't a good thing because that means your blood glucose levels are too high. And I don't have my glucometer with me. So I'm just speculating.
Glucagon is never really talked about, but it is like anti-catabolic in a way, isn't it?
No, it is actually catabolic, but not in, so it makes you liberate glucose from the liver and liberate fatty acids from adipose tissue. So this is one of the few drugs that can actually cause spot reduction. So you put it in your lower back, 1 milligram, half a milligram. You do your cardio until your blood glucose levels come back down, because they might go up to 300 milligrams per deciliter if you don't do activity. And then you have fat loss from that area. Yeah, it's quite powerful. So that's why I'm looking forward to the retatrutide, because if you follow that with a ketogenic diet and some walking in between meals and in between sets, I think the fat loss that you get out of that is stellar.
And glucagon is natural in the body too, right? Like if you're on a lower carb diet, your body's...
Yeah, so if you follow a carnivore diet or a general ketogenic diet, your glucagon levels will be elevated because your insulin levels are so low. That's why a ketogenic diet is so beneficial for a lot of people.
So high insulin, lower glucagon.
Exactly, and lower growth hormone. And lower insulin, higher glucagon, and higher growth hormone. That's why fasting works so well for fat loss. Oh, we can put that one over there. But yeah, nowadays, of course, with another ban on the peptides, it has been driven underground, and the compounding pharmacies are not able to produce it anymore. So now you don't really know what you're getting unless you trust your source. But that's the same with steroids. Yeah, America took a lot of good products off the market.
There's no reason to really ever trust your source either. It's like, oh, so-and-so, he's a good dude.
Well, I
Like
did.
that's like as much as you... He gets the good stuff. And you're like, as opposed to the bad stuff, like maybe it doesn't crystallize and you're like, hey, this guy's stuff is better.
Still good, right?
Or if it hurts less, but then you're like, maybe there's less shit in there.
No, I mean,
It's hard to like really
I've
know.
used plenty of underground labs, and now I'm at the point where I don't want to touch it anymore.
Right.
But then again, gray area peptide websites are underground labs too. They get it from China, and you know, but at least you can choose which bacteriostatic water you use to reconstitute it.
Is there anything that just like can help improve just like your overall digestion, like just for helping like?
Cook your own meals.
Yeah.
Oh, my digestion has been horrible since I came here.
Right.
Next time, Airbnbs and cooking your own meals. Trader Joe's.
A BP 157 can kind of help, supposedly help your gut a little bit.
So I mean, it's quite a lengthy process to improve your intestinal health. First, you need to do an elimination diet. Fast for a couple of days to really get the inflammation and the problems out. You maybe have to do an elimination diet to the extent you go full carnivore for a month or two, get the inflammation out of the way, improve your digestion, remove the visceral fat, right? And once you're good again, you might want to reintroduce some vegetables and reintroduce some carbs if you're really trained for performance. But some people do very well on carnivore. I do better on ketogenic diet with some vegetables, some seeds, nuts, you know, some avocado, and then some fruit around the workout. So you just have to reintroduce what your body agrees with. And then once you have this perfect diet, then you have to follow it. The hard part is when you travel. Yeah, that's the hard part. It's super hard to follow your diet when you're traveling. So I've been a little bit off diet, getting a little bit of body fat around the waist. I'm sure we'll get rid of that when I get back home. So once you got your diet under control, then you can look into things like glutamine, right, for intestinal health, or increasing your stomach acid levels with apple cider vinegar tablets or liquids, diluted the liquids, or betaine hydrochloride with pepsin. Right? This all helps with digestion, digestive enzymes here and there. Not all the time, but here and there when you feel you need it. Then you have the healing peptides, BBC 157 orally. Right? You can take those in capsule form, 500 micrograms, ideally in a fasted stomach with some glutamine, not with the apple cider vinegar or the betaine because it might cause it to break down more. And then there's a peptide called LL37, which is an antimicrobial peptide, naturally occurring. So if you really messed up your intestinal tract, you do a fast, you do maybe 5 days, and you start with LL37 at 1 milligram or half a milligram per day. You run that for basically 20 days, 2 vials. Then you have to repopulate your gut microbiome, kimchi, sauerkraut, kombucha tea, yeah, fermented stuff, raw foods, salmon, raw beef, raw chicken if you trust your sorts, right? Trust your chicken guy, and then you have to kind of repopulate
good
that.
guy. Chicken guy.
Yeah, I know a good guy
dude.
for raw chicken. Yeah. Actually, the best diet I ever did was a raw food diet, including the raw chicken and raw eggs. I felt the best on that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about the worms? Parasites.
Yeah. So it all went well until I got salmonella poisoning one day. Yeah. Yeah. That was when I was dieting. That was the most shredded I've ever been. I was dieting. I was like 2 weeks out for my photo shoot, and then I got salmonella poisoning from the raw chicken that I was eating.
Why didn't you do the chicken though? Like, why couldn't you just do the?
So you get like a boiling water, right? You boil it in a pan, and you use a sieve, and you put all the chicken in there. You just dunk it for a little bit. So you scorch the outside, which is where the salmonella is supposed to be. Same with the eggs. Yeah. I mean, I wish I couldn't.
Salmonella poisoning is no joke. You
No,
got
I
fucked
couldn't
up, right?
stand. I couldn't stand, and it came out both ends. Yeah. Yeah, I was so dehydrated I couldn't stand.
Yeah, I've heard people got really messed up from that.
Yeah. It felt good though until that happened.
How long ago did you do this?
Because I was 24.
20. Okay, 20. Okay.
I know. I know.
24, the
So-
prefrontal cortex.
Yeah, exactly. Like that just makes sense on paper. But my digestion was absolutely flawless.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I could eat like 5,000 calories raw when I just started, and I could still pull a vacuum at the end of the day. It just go through. So people,
It's good.
oh yeah, better than on the carnivore. That was like a hippopotamus. We're going to the poop stories already. Great.
Were you doing a lot of raw chicken, or it was just like
about 8 ounces.
8 ounces a day?
Yeah, and then 10 egg whites and 3 or 4 whole eggs.
And you did that for a while before you finally got
It
set.
took me about 3 months. Yeah. I wish I could take pictures. I was so shredded. I think this is the most shredded I've ever been. But I couldn't stand. I had to crawl to the bathroom to vomit. Yeah, and of course the healthcare system in Holland, you call the general practitioner, like, I think I have salmonella poisoning, can I make an appointment? So yeah, in 2 weeks we have availability. So I have salmonella poisoning. I need some medication. Oh, just 2 weeks. So healthcare system sounds great until you have an acute issue.
Just like you better last.
Yeah, it'll just make you stronger. Yeah, good times. So, yeah, lesson learned. Again, we have to learn the hard way.
Who did you see doing that you're like, ooh, I'm gonna give this?
No, I just read it online.
You just read. Shit.
I was following, yeah. No, so I was following like elimination diets to improve my health, and then at one point I looked into the enzymes that are part of meat, and of course protein sources, carb sources, fat sources, and you see that all the enzymes that are in there that cause autophagy or cellular breakdown are destroyed in pasteurization or cooking. So I'm like, you know what, if I want my digestion to be better, I have these digestive enzymes that are produced naturally, and then these digestive enzymes that are part of the food that I eat, why don't I not cook the meat? And you do beef and salmon and fish for a while, it goes well. You do the overnight oats, right? So it's not heated, just overnight, so it ferments a little bit. You add a little bit of kombucha tea to that, which you then got from the nature store, where all the hippies hang out. And it went well, and then later you get more confident. You're like, you know what, let's do raw eggs. Just boil the outside. Worked well. You add in raw chicken. Worked well until I got sick. And then I took the chicken out, and I still continued with the raw food diet for a bit. Until I got lean enough. But yeah, that was honestly, digestion-wise, the best I ever felt and looked. In Thailand, I wouldn't do that, though. It's too risky. That's too risky. Ooh, nothing to failure. I got that from Mike Israel. He took all the joy out of my training. And not going to failure anymore. So.
He's close to failure.
Yeah, no. When I was 15, somebody gave me the VHS of Dorian Yates, like the blood and guts.
Yeah.
So I've been training like that ever since, until your central nervous system kind of takes a beating. And then you start researching a little bit, oh, maybe as you get older, you don't take so many sets to failure anymore. I always make a joke about Mike taking all the joy out of training, because it's like edging the whole workout.
Oh yeah. Isn't that the best though?
It is, yeah.
You're not beating yourself up at the beginning.
It is. No, it helps a lot for cognition and stuff. And not beating yourself up all the time. Yep. Yeah. You're done? All right. See you later. I will. So you go all the way up, huh?
Yeah, just so my shoulders have a really good ability to move. I'll still do normal delt raises, but like these.
You know, who's been talking a lot been doing them for a long time is Dante Tradell has talked for a long time about like loaded stretching.
Yeah, I just made a video, right? Yesterday.
Yeah.
I followed that for a while.
He's been doing it for a pretty long time. He'll just like load up a cable machine and then just get himself in whatever position. I saw him, he's doing one where he had it behind his back. And that looked pretty brutal. His arms were back pretty good. I was like, shit.
I did it for a while when I followed doc rep training when I was still natural. I did it religiously for like 4 to 6 weeks. Yeah. And then all my joints were fried. I didn't realize I was missing one of the ingredients. Still ate like a mountain of food though. And then recently I incorporated some stuff. But honestly, stretching compared to the deep tissue massage therapy, I found that that's more beneficial. Of course, not everybody can afford that or has the time for it. So I think stretching is a good alternative as a starting
deep
point.
tissue is unbelievable.
Deep tissue saved my career.
Especially if you get it done frequently.
Yeah, I do it every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of acupuncture. And
because then you're getting the stuff that like you didn't even know was a problem yet.
Yeah.
You're like way ahead.
Right.
The person finds something in like your calf and you're like, I didn't even know.
Exactly, and you could potentially prevent a micro tear or full-blown muscle tear. So I've been doing that every week for the last 4 to 5 years. And I think that's why I still look somewhat okay and can still train somewhat heavy. Because I think I would have probably beaten myself up with injuries if I didn't do that, Of course, people don't want to hear that. They want to know what peptide they can use. You tell them, yeah, you got to do deep tissue massage therapy.
Do you mess around with getting like body fat tests and stuff done?
No, I just look in the mirror.
Yeah.
It's dynamic anyway, so
it just changes so much.
Yeah.
Right, who cares really?
If you can see veins and you can see your abs, then I think it's fine,
I mean, you're probably in a pretty good spot.
Yeah. And some people hold their body fat a little bit better than others. So some people might look lean at 8% and others need to get down to 6%. The weird thing is, as you get older, your body fat distribution changes. So now my face looks somewhat lean and my arms and legs look somewhat lean, but then if I take my shirt off, I look 15%.
How old are you here? 40?
40, yeah. Yeah, I just turned 40 2.5 months ago. I thought it was going to be miserable. It was actually not bad. Ooh. How old are you now?
40, gonna be 47 in December.
We'll tell you that life starts getting good after 30, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, you have more of your life figured out, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I met my wife when I was 30, and then you get a little bit more serious, and now we're trying to have kids. I think it will be another boost in seriousness.
Yep. Andrew's got a almost 3-year-old, right?
All right, yeah.
Yep, and it does get serious.
Mm-hmm. Right, it will be next level, yeah. That's what everybody says. Yeah, that's what everybody told me, so. And luckily I stopped bodybuilding coaching completely after this year. So no more babysitting bodybuilders. I can babysit my own kids.
It's okay that you ate a Snickers, it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
we'll get back to it.
Yeah,
And
I know you look a little
phone.
bit fat today, but tomorrow you'll be a little bit more lean and yeah.
Comes and goes, comes in cycles, you're gonna be all right.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Just a lot of damage
Yeah,
control.
I figured after over a decade of doing that, I think I could be a good dad.
The really fun part, which is what I'm going through right now, is like, so imagine you are coaching somebody
Right.
from day 0.
Yeah.
And you have a clean blank slate. So like my son, like I say, he's going to be 3 in January. He has no idea what candy is.
Oh, good.
He's never had it. He doesn't know it exists. So all he knows is steak, rice, chicken, just whole foods right
Yeah,
now.
nutritious stuff. So your kid is going to be taller than you are probably and more muscular. Yeah, because I have my diet from when I was young, and it was literally all carbs.
Yeah.
Banana, bread, apple juice, grape juice, like all this, just carbs. Yeah, that's what my parents fed me. And honestly, I was sick, I was sick as a kid, asthma and, like rashes everywhere, eczema, and I was not healthy at all until I went to a ketogenic diet when I was like 15, 16 years old. Yeah, that's how long it took. And then all my problems went away.
How did you find the keto diet at 15?
Just researching, you know, or maybe 17, 18, yeah. But I did it I've been doing it for over 20 years.
Wow.
That's more impressive because there was less info when you were that young.
No, so I went to the library to get nutritional advice. Yeah, the library, yeah. That's because
Microfiche.
Yeah, you had to read books, you know, remember that day? Now you just ask ChatGPT and then you put it through an algo where they speak it for you. It's hard to discriminate what good information is. There's too much information, but it's hard to kind of go through what is high quality. That's again why I like social media, because you can kind of profile people online, and the longer they're on social media and their reputation remains intact, you would say that the quality of their information is good. So, you know, if it keeps going, you got the public appeal and the public recognition, then you would say, no, this information is quite good. Then again, everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes. Huberman makes mistakes. Peter Attia makes a mistake here and there.
Well, so like, obviously there's a lot of bad information on social media, but is that where you would tell somebody to first turn to, like when it comes to like performance enhancing drugs?
I mean, it helps to kind of bring stuff to you, right? So Instagram and YouTube is like a funnel of information to you. And then when something spikes your interest, then it's up to you to go to PubMed or another source of information to do more research. Because I have to compress everything down to be 10 minutes, 20 minutes. But in reality, that 20-minute video might contain a decade of research. Right. And it might be applicable for a large portion of the people, but not for an individual that's watching it. So I always try to stimulate people to learn more. And then you see it in the comment section, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. And then it's up to you to do more research. Yeah, that's what I did when I watched podcasts. Like, hey, wait a minute, I don't know what he's talking about. Pause, research, come back an hour later. And then you have a little bit more insight. But not everybody is, inspired to do that, unfortunately.
Too much time.
Yeah, it takes too much time. I gotta watch Netflix.
Yeah, a little bit of sled drag, and we'll finish out.
Why not? And you got a good delt pump for the podcast.
Yep. And then in case we take our pants off, get a little quad pump.
Oh yeah, give me another hour. After 6 days of Olympia and Disney World. Oh man. In Disney World, they make you walk.
What a contrast.
What?
The Olympia and Disney World.
It's in the same spot. It's in the same place. I'm not gonna fly to Orlando twice if I don't need to, so.
That's incredible.
That's why I'm a day later. My apologies. Because I'm like, okay, wait, I have the Olympia Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I want to do Universal Studios Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Disney World. So you do 2 parks a day, so I saw 6 parks in 3 days, 25,000 steps a day.
Damn.
Yeah.
Every fat person imaginable, and then you went to the Olympia where there's every lean
jacked
person imaginable.
Yeah, it was the biggest contrast ever. There were a couple chunky people at the Olympia too. Yeah, and a couple jack dudes at the Disney World, because they just hang around. So I still got recognized in the line. Just, hey, are you Vigorous Steve?
You want to mess with this?
Yeah, sure.
Did you like Disney World, or did you go there because your wife wanted to go?
Well, it was kind of her time. You know how it is when you're like somewhat known. So she just played camera lady for 3 days. And I'm like, babe, what do you want to do? You want to eat here? Okay, let's go. You want to go to Disneyland? Sure, let's go. So, yeah, it was good. Oh, this is pretty heavy. No, but I wanted to see it too. I mean, we only have Disneyland Paris in Europe, and in Thailand we have nothing of the sorts. So, you know, again, when you're in a country and there's only a unique attraction, you got to do it. I like the one in Japan though, the Universal Studios in Japan. Oh man, it's great. They got the Super Nintendo
Universal
land.
Studios is pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, Universal Studios is good. And they don't cater to fat people because all their rides are, a little bit more tighter and more adventurous. So I didn't see any of the Disney World crowd that I saw at Disney World. Got some calf pumps.
You know the power lifter, John Hack, you probably heard of him before, right?
If
Like probably one of the strongest lifters of all time.
Oh,
He's
really?
competed at 181, 198, and just dominated. Came in here and he squatted like around 700, just a pair of knee sleeves. 15 minutes later, he's benching like 505 for a couple reps. Unbelievable strength. I go to show him the sled. Like, let me just show you, like, here's what I usually do with it. We went down and back a couple times, and then he's throwing up.
Really?
It was unbelievable.
He's like a 1-rep guy, right?
He's like, I'm not in shape like that, man. It was crazy. I was like,
so
holy shit.
getting my body weight done, I'm sure you noticed the same thing, that your stamina improves so much.
Oh, yeah.
Like those days of being 260 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm over that.
Yeah, I weigh about 220 nowadays.
Yeah.
It makes a huge, especially with running for me, it makes a huge difference.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, you run a lot now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got to reinvent yourself, man. You can't lift heavy weights all the time.
Yeah.
I see Nsima is doing a lot of functional stuff now. Well, it's good, man. I mean, how many times can you do a bench press in your life?
Yeah, the way I look at it is like some of the movements I developed a pretty good skill set with, so I may as well still use them. They still have a lot of utility, but I just don't need to care about them as much, you know? So I'll still bench, I'll still deadlift, I'll still squat.
Yeah, because it's
Kinda
bread and butter and having fun with it.
Yeah, and then like I think having a goal to say like move the 120s around for a certain amount of reps or something.
Right.
Just having that goal, it should be something that assists with holding on to muscle mass or maybe even gaining more muscle mass.
Plus, it's fun. Lifting heavy stuff is still fun.
Yeah, it can be fun, yep. I've been messing around with this angle right here. I like this because it makes you kind of crouch down. I got to kind of practice this with even heavier weight, I think, because even leaning forward a little bit more might be even more useful.
No, you got a good quad pump now.
Yeah. Yeah, like one more lap and then we're done.
Cool. Let me try that other direction. I like to do the sled. We have one at the Muscle Factory in Thailand.
Cool.
And you just load them up, 6, 7 plates, start pushing.
Yeah.
Oh man, at the end of the leg
Different
workout.
style of training, you know?
No, it's more fun, man. It's just, I mean,
It's
you
a different movement.
clearly feel it. All right, here we go. It gets the blood flowing.
Yep. And you kind of get like a little bit of like a calf stretch. And you get your feet working.
Quads going.
It's different than like a leg extension, you know?
Oh yeah, I think as I get older, I should get away from those.
Yeah. And then the leg extension has a lot of utility too, in the sense that like it's a great way to get some direct stimulus, or at least it feels like it's a great way to get direct stimulus on the quad without having to perfect a movement. You know, like in a squat, it's like kind of need to have your shit together.
Especially when you go heavy.
Yeah, in order to figure out how to get the squat to not like sit in your lower back or bother your abs or something like that. Any calf work, or they're just that way pretty much?
No, I do a lot of calf work.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I remember when I was younger, my calves were like straight.
Oh, really?
And then I saw Arnold talk about that. I just do 500 hours of calves. Do them every day. So I did them every day for 3 years.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and that helped a lot. I recently did it when I was on cycle like 2 years ago. Did them every day for a month, and we're at 19.5 inches.
Damn.
Yeah, I wish my arms were that big.
Yeah, I know some people have a hard time with that. They just think like, yeah, my calves are sticks or whatever, but there's always room for improvement,
Just gotta
right?
train them. My knees hurt though when I did them every day.
Really?
Yeah, because you go heavy, you know.
Oh, yeah.
3 working sets, 4 working
Right,
sets.
standing heavy.
Standing or seated, and my knees are not the best anymore, unfortunately. Yeah.
Good workout. Where can
For
people
sure.
find you?
Oh, Vigorous Steve. Anywhere you look, on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, website, it's all Vigorous Steve. You can find me there.
Yeah, we got a good pump, did some shoulders, messed around with the sled a little bit. He gave us a lot of amazing information. We're about to
Still
go
doing-
podcast right now.
Yeah, didn't get any veins, but we're gonna have some
But
food
we don't have
later
to
on.
talk about that.
Yeah.
Strength is never weakness, weakness never strength. Catch you guys later.